Hi guys, it's Ben Heath from Lead Guru, and in this video, I'm going to share with you the single most important rule of Facebook ads. Before I get into it, I just want to very quickly ask you to smash that like button and of course subscribe to my channel if you are new and haven't done so already. Okay, so what's the single most important rule when it comes to Facebook advertising? I thought this would be very important to quickly cover because it's especially important in conjunction with a lot of the other Facebook ads content that I release and that you may have been through. And the single most important rule is that if something is working really well, if you have a Facebook ad campaign that's performing very well, don't change it. You know, the whole phrase of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it applies to Facebook advertising. Now, there is some nuance to this. There are times where you do want to make changes and times when you don't want to make changes, and I'm going to explain that. But I'm in the practice ad account. I've just quickly called this high performing Facebook ad campaign. If we were seeing fantastic results in here over the right, it's not something I would want to be tweaking and changing and things like that. And that's because whenever you make a change to your Facebook ad campaigns, you introduce an element of risk. You'll probably know that when you make significant changes at the campaign level, ad set level, even introducing new ads, things like that, you go back through the learning phase. You re-enter the learning phase. And there is some risk associated with that. You may well end up with a campaign that performs worse after your adjustments. And this is more likely to happen if your campaigns are performing well to begin with. So you want to be careful with the changes that you make, with how often or whether or not you re-enter the learning phase at all. In fact, I'll include a link in the description talking more about the learning phase and the impact of it and stuff like that. So if, for example, you have a Facebook ad campaign that is performing really well, and you consume my content or someone else's, you're educating yourself in this topic, which is great, something you definitely want to be doing. And let's say you've got a campaign that is using ABO, ad set budget optimization. You see that in one of my videos, I recommend that you use CBO, that produces better results most of the time, and it does. I'm a big fan of campaign budget optimization. I've tested this a whole bunch, and it does produce better results most of the time. And you think, okay, I'll change my ABO campaign over to a CBO campaign. That's going to help improve performance. If you've got a high-performing ABO campaign, I would recommend that you do not switch it over to CBO campaign. You don't want to take the risk of changing it if it's already performing well. Now, of course, if it's not performing well in the first place, then yeah, by all means, go ahead and make the change. And the same applies to a lot of other types of things like the difference between ABO and CBO. Attribution setting, for example, if you're using 1-day click and you see that I recommend a longer time period than that, say 7-day click, and you think, okay, great, I'll go ahead and change it. Don't do that if the original setting that you're currently using is producing great results. What I would prefer you to do is for your next campaigns, use the setup that I recommend with those instead. Keep your existing campaigns as they are, use those, let them run out their course, and then with the new campaigns, go with the new settings. That's likely to be a much better approach. I don't want you to go ahead and make a change to something that statistically on average is better, but in your scenario may worsen performance because you've already got something performing really well. Okay? Now, this is where the nuance comes in. I want to be very, very clear. I don't want you to change any optimization, delivery settings, things like that. So things like ABO versus CBO, attribution settings, placement options, things like that in a campaign that's performing really well. Leave those as is. However, you do still need to make changes to high-performing Facebook ad campaigns because you need to introduce new elements to overcome ad fatigue. So don't think that this applies to adding in new ads, even testing new targeting options. Those are things you absolutely want to do. Yes, you may well re-enter the learning phase by taking those actions, but you have to do it, otherwise your campaigns will just slowly die. This more applies to the delivery settings, optimization side of things. I think it's very, very important to not over-tinker, over-tweak, not to consume. And it's good content and it's correct stuff when I'm saying use CBO over ABO. We've tested this. We know CBO works better most of the time, but just don't change it for a campaign that's already functioning well. And I think that's something, given a lot of the comments I've seen, I really wanted to get across. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you've got a high-performing Facebook ad campaign, please do not change the optimization delivery settings, even if there is technically a better setup. Use that setup for your next round of campaigns. Okay, hopefully that's been useful. Before you go, one thing I'll quickly mention, that's a free webinar I've created called 3 Killer Facebook Ad Strategies to Double or More Your Revenue. And in this webinar, I break down 3 different Facebook advertising sales funnels that we use as an agency all the time. All 3 produce fantastic results. We've generated millions of dollars with each. They're very much tried and tested, and I show you exactly how to implement them in this webinar. So strongly recommend you go through it. It's completely free. Link is in the video description below. Just go ahead and check out the webinar, go through it. 60, 70 minutes long. I think you'll be very, very glad that you did. If you found this video useful, please comment below to let me know. Comment below if you've got questions I can't answer. All the comments I answer, I prioritize member comments. You can find out more about that if you click the little join button beneath. It will give you info about how that works. But I do see all the comments and I get to as many as I can. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm releasing Facebook ads related content like this all the time. Really important you know this stuff. You don't want to go ahead and, in this example, change something that shouldn't be changed and see performance drop off as a result. And yeah, please hit that thumbs up button. That'd be much appreciated. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye for now.